Okay, so here we go. Question number one. What are your plans for student achievement in CSE 174?
Student achievements. So they should be able to write simple programs. They should be able to um, read a Java program and figure out what's going on. Not very complicated Java programs, just easiest stuff because that's just CSC 174 is just for the beginners, right? Um, the other stuff. Um, they should understand some concept of programming languages, like how one programming language, or in my case Java, works, how they compile things, how different part of the Java language, like what are the variables, like methods, classes, like the concept that they can use not only in Java, also in other programming languages. Um, that's it, I guess.
Okay. How does that relate to what the university stated? For each class, we have the stated objectives for a class.
Mm.
Do you? How does that match?
Um, well, there are some stuff. Um, well, hmm. The problem with CSE 174, my class is I have a lot of students from other majors. Um, they Most of them have no idea what's going on. Like before taking this class, they had no idea what's going on with the programming languages. So um, a lot of things that department wants me to achieve in this class, it's not gonna happen, um, because it's something very new for them. At the same time, I have to, I just keep that in mind. A lot of computer majors also taking these course, so like having students from different levels um, does not allow me to just um, go over everything. So I have to, when I explain something, I have to stop somewhere. So I cannot finish it. Maybe I cannot go over like a lot of complicated stuff. So what the department wants me to do, and what they think is gonna achieve from this course, it's kind of far from what is really happening. And I think the main reason is just the students, they because they are coming from different backgrounds and everything.
Okay. Let's switch gears a little bit. What's the structure of your course? Like, how do you do times, lectures, labs, things like that?
Mm. So what I used to do was I was just going over the lectures. So based on the textbook, we created like the slides, and we just I just went over the slides and explained all details and everything. Wherever I felt like I need to show them some codes and everything, so I did that. But right now, this semester, I'm doing something new. So instead of just showing them slides and just talk about things that they can go and read themselves, just from the slides, I'm just I made like programs that covers everything from the slides. At the same time, I'm writing programs for them so they can see. They can also write the codes with me in the class. So it's not going to be boring. It's They have to just do that with me in the class. So it's gonna a little motivate them. At the same time, they as they are writing codes, they gonna get a stuck sometimes, get errors and everything. So that might just teach them something.
Okay.
Just But basically, we have lectures that I'm using this writing. I'm basically um, doing like more hands-on coding stuff instead of just talking about the slides and everything. We also have so after each lecture we have quizzes. So quizzes gonna be based on the stuff that I talked about during the lecture, and we have the labs.
Is the quiz during the lecture time or lab time?
So it's gonna be after the lecture.
Is it part of the instructional time, or is it um, something that you do that they do out of class?
They do out of the class.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, I have the lecture, and they after that they have the quiz, and they have until midnight to take the quiz.
Then how do you structure the labs?
So the labs is going to be basically something that covers everything we talked about during the lectures, and something a little extra to just push them to learn something more. Um, and we also have homework, which is going to be something that covers everything in the lectures, quizzes, labs, and everything again, and something that push them like a little more. So just usually, what I have in my homework, I just ask them to just do a little research and use that inside their work. So
Okay.
yeah.
So let's talk about exams for a little bit. How do you design exams?
Oh yeah. So the exam's gonna be basically multiple questions, multi-choice questions, this kind of stuff, writing codes on paper, and covering a lot of details, which I'm not doing this semester because I have a lot of students from, again, the same problem. I have a lot of students from different departments. They don't want to know all details. So in 2 days, I'm gonna have tomorrow, actually, not 2 days. Tomorrow, I'm gonna have my first exam. So this time, I am trying to cover like a lot of general things, not a lot of details. So basically, what they did during the labs and homework, whatever they spend more time on it, not lectures. So they usually spend more time on labs and homework. So I design my question as everything from those instead of just going like over the details from the slides and everything. Um, yeah, and I pick the important stuff, not something that I wanna just to see if anybody knows this or not. It's just important stuff they need to know.
So what's your exam schedule? Do you do you mentioned that you've got one coming up. Do you do them during the day, during class time, or at evening? And how long are
So
they?
it's gonna be at evening sometime, like everybody can make it to the exam. So um, tomorrow my exam gonna be from 7 to 9 p.m. and still a lot of students gonna have exam conflicts, so we have another makeup exam on Friday, same time, just for those who cannot make it to the original time. Yeah, I cannot have the exam during one of my lectures or labs because there are a lot of things that I need to cover, and just having the exam, just using the same time for the exam, um, that's not good. I cannot make up for that time that I'm losing just for the exam.
Okay.
I need that.
How do you grade the exams?
I use TAs. Um, for the questions the TAs can handle, I just give them the key. I just ask them to just grade that based on the key, the coding parts and everything that I'm not sure if they can handle it, so I grade those parts myself.
Okay. So let's talk. You do office hours. What types of issues are you finding in your office hours?
So I'm always shocked by like how students just don't listen during the lectures. They don't read the instructions. They don't listen in the class. They just so there there were like a lot of times I explained some things 10 times. Like after each 5 minutes, I just repeated that, and then they just came in and they just asked it again. What happened with that? I was like, I explained it 10 times, and yeah, that happened a lot, and it was interesting for me. The other thing is, it is obvious they don't study. They just come in and ask for help, and it's obvious they didn't go back and read the slides and the materials and everything. They just come in and just want to get the answer for only that thing they have problem with. Um, but it's not always. We have like students who come in and ask like very good questions, and it's obvious they studied enough, a lot actually, and they want to know more. So which is good.
Okay, so the questions that come in, how do they relate to lectures, lab, homework?
Like the question.
Yeah, the questions from the students.
Um, okay, so during my office hours, which is close to the due for the homework, so most of them gonna ask about the homework.
Okay.
But they barely just come in ask about what I explained during the lecture, unless um, they need that for one of the labs or homework. But their question basically is like mostly is about the homework and quizzes and everything, which they need to get a full point of that. Just they just need the grade, and that's why they just come in and ask question. That's the main reason, I guess. Um, like 95% of them is just for the grade. It's just not for the learning. That's what I think. I don't know.
Okay. So the homework assignments, let's talk about those for a moment. How do you use them? What use are they for you?
How do I use homework assignments? What do you mean, like how do I use?
How, how do you make them relevant to the material?
Oh, okay. Um, so every lecture, I teach a few new things, and based on those, so each week I have around 4 or 5 new things. So when I design the homework, I just try to cover those parts um, more than other stuff, and I try to be fair. I try to um, don't give them anything like confusing or they have to spend a lot of time on it. So I try. I try to be fair, like um, about everything. Um, I try to like if a good student wants to do that, he learns something. Also, if someone with not enough knowledge wants to do that, also that guy also learns something. Um, but basically, that's it. I just based on this stuff that I talked about during the week, I just design something and I just try to explain all details and just avoid the confusion and everything.
How do the assignments change over the life of the course? So is there change that you see?
Um, assignment changed, so they're not changing too much. Like compared to last semester, what I have right now, I just change stuff a little bit because using a new using a new assignment is kind of risky. So like the assignment that I used last semester, like I had, so I used the discussion part for asking questions and everything. If they have any question, they post it on discussion part. Like for some homework, I got like around 150 questions, and that happens. That shows like they're confused about the homework, right? So I don't want to take the risk of trying something new. So I just go with the old one and I just make like small changes to it.
Okay.
So it's not the old version. It still has the same base and everything, but it's not going to be the same.
Okay. So we've talked about the homework. How do lab assignments relate to the course and the structure?
Mm. So the lab assignments are basically for practicing um, the stuff that I talked about, but not everything, just important parts. And I try to cover everything by like I use labs to just practice some stuff, and those parts that I couldn't like cover during the labs, I try to just add those parts to their homework. So that way, by playing with between labs and homework, I just try to just make them to practice everything. Um, Sometimes labs are actually more useful, than the homework because I covered something in during the lab which was more important than like what I covered during the homework. But yeah, so basically the labs and homework is just for them to practice what they've learned.
Okay. Thank
But,
you.
but the good thing
Oh,
about the lab is like we all get together, so they can talk to each other, they can ask questions and everything. But for the homework, they just have to do it just on their own. So it's different. The situation is different.
thank you. I appreciate your help. That really helps me out, and seriously, I appreciate that greatly. I will stop this and say that I